Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for my lunch choice. And I wanted to just share a little bit because of everything that's going on. So it would be a little mixture of current events, but not in detail, and our spiritual selves, if you will. So a little bit of both. So everything that is going on all over the world has awakened many of us. So much is now being exposed. Those who were calling the shots are now being called to the table, kicking and screaming, or running in fear. But I will not go so much into the current events because that's all over the place. Every news channel, everything all over the world, this is what's going on. The culmination of racism, the height of, I won't call them supremacists because the are now being called out more so than ever before. And all of this has something to do with the shift that's happening now. Where people are becoming conscious and aware and able to see things that once they could not see. So now it's a matter of confronting something or, being exposed to what we perceive as reality. And it is a perception. Imagine that. All this stuff that's going on around the world, can you imagine that it's all going on within your mind? Everything that now I'm not talking, we have realists and we have idealists, whichever. Everything that you see going on around the world is all going on within your mind. And yes, it is a collective because we all subscribe to it. We all are living within this system. But this system is created within our own imagination. So now that we know this, what are we dealing with? What are we fighting with? If all that exists is in one's own mind, then what are we fighting? If your true self, if the energy that animates you, that has you walking and talking, is all of but one energy, not several, one energy. that creates all that is, all that we believe we see. One would say God force energy, some say universal force, it goes on. But there's only one creator of all creation that then gave power and free will to all other creations, to all creation. And we do this by the way of our minds and our hearts. I got to thinking about that thing that they say is and is infecting everyone. It's very real. Why is it very real? Because it's very real within our minds. So it becomes, if one says mind over matter, your mind over matter, solid, like this wood here, matter, you are the creator of what becomes matter. You are the creator of what becomes matter. So what do we have? We have our minds, our hearts, and we have this world and everything going on in it, and it being chaotic, and the chaos is off the chain. We said in the old days, off the chain. It's just out of control, right? But there is control. There's a collective consciousness. And we now can change the game easily. Of course, but the way we do this is we have to get control of our minds and our hearts. Not control, but in tune, in align the two. That's better, I should say. So how do we do this when so much is going on? And seeing is believing. Seeing is believing. So now, it has to be where we believe. And we have faith until we can get to the point where we know for sure. So, but until we can get to that point where we know, we go by faith and we believe. If everything that you see is all within your mind, then where's the battle? If everything that you see is all within your mind, where's the battle? Is it within? This is good, because this is what helps us to evolve. We must evolve so that we can grow spiritually. all of this chaos, you see, every time, even in life's lessons, we've all gone through it where we're crying and going through everything. Right now, we're going through everything that's going on here. It has touched our hearts. Well, I'm still working on this. I'm still working on this because the enemy, the inner me, that thing that they've created is just like the people that we've created, that is feeding off our energy. That thing that they created does not have life. It must leech on to something within you in order to exist. It must survive, get into something within you in order to survive. Get this. The people that's been running this planet need us in order to survive. Just like that thing. But let me say this. That's the outside. Let's talk about the inside, the spiritual side. That thing can only exist in your imagination. You are all powerful. If you give it your energy, it survives. If you believe it is real, it survives. Any kind of permission you give it to exist in your life, it will survive. The moment you make a decision to know who you really are, beyond faith, beyond belief, know that the energy that flows through you is the internal, the eternal, the power of all there is. You are it. And when you know that, can't touch it. Nothing can touch you. When you understand who you are, how powerful you are, all that you are, they can't do anything with you because you would have vibed. Your vibration would be so high, all they could do is swim under you. They can't touch you. They that you've created within your own imagination can't touch you. You're going to tell another story, and the story does not include them. So that means that somebody's got to go. And just like that thing that they created, because it was to pretty much knock out melanated people, or at least make them where they're making so much money off, as if business as usual. But things are not that anymore. It's not that anymore. All this that you see is going on within your own imagination, within your own mind. You're creating it. And yes, there's a collective consciousness. And you subscribe to it. You ever notice how every time you turn on your phone, your laptop, the TV, I don't know if they have newspapers anymore, magazine, whatever it is, everywhere you look, they're hammering this idea in your mind because they need you to believe it. They need you to believe it in order for it to exist. So stop believing in it and get to knowing that none of this, and give thanks and live in appreciation and honor and enjoy nature. Say thank you for all that you are. Fear does not serve you. It depletes you. It keeps you from living. All of those things, if you ever have to use any of it to spark you, to get you motivated, okay, but get up off it, because it's not who you are. There is no fear in your true self. Get beyond faith, get beyond belief, get to knowing. There is no fear, there is no sickness, there isn't any of that can touch you without you saying, come in and have a seat. Let me entertain you. The thing is, it's not our fault when we don't know better. But once you heard something spark, your mind will keep working to direct you towards the truth. And your heart is where the truth is. It's all written within your heart, within your DNA. Everything. So you have to tap into that. And this is how we begin to change. Tap into yourself. Who you think you are is not who you are. That's why they got you caught up in this thing. Been programming you since before you were even thought of, because they grounded and rooted stuff in your forefathers' and mother's DNA. So you came out with stuff. But it's okay. one would say a spiritual journey, but I won't call it a journey, but it is and you're already enlightened, but it's a reconnecting or I'm playing with the flies here. It's a reconnecting, it's more than a reconnection, but it's going back into, it's just being who you really are. So I would not use the words reclaim, reconnect, reunite. Nothing can exist within your mind without you giving it your attention and your energy. Where your energy goes or flows, that's what grows. If you want this chaotic craziness to continue to grow, then as a collective, we continue to give it energy. But now we have help. We have help, y'all. The sun done beamed down into us some extra information. And we are charged to lift the vibration of this planet. We have been charged to lift the vibration of this planet. So, what are you going to do? It's all within your imagination. I don't know if I rambled on talking. I don't have any notes, but I just wanted to say, if everything that you see, and now scientists are able to see this, all is a waveform, this energy that collapses into what we perceive as matter, things that are created. That's where the secret came in, and law of attraction, and which was based on books way back, which were taken actually from our ancestors when they came in and burned. There's another story we will get into at another time, but anyway, that information was then collected and made into religions, but it was all done in a way where the truth lied hidden within all of the holy books, our scriptures, that we live by. But they took our truth and flipped it. So that's why it's very familiar to us, and that's why we grasp it and we live by it, many of the religions. But later you will, one day see things that are written in stone around the world. But more so in Africa, and the land of the blacks, where we were given information, knowledge, and wisdom that was gained over eons. And so that information, that knowledge, landed in hands of people who chose to use it against us. But remember, the spiritual side, it's all within our imagination. There are people who are in our dreams. And then there are those of us who are in someone else's dream. Who's the real dreamer? So, let me go back. All that we see is created within our minds. Scientists now prove this. That everything is energy that collapses into what we perceive, what we believe it is. And so, as we look at something, that something materializes. They used to say thoughts create reality. Well, actually, it's more than thoughts that create reality. It's your thoughts, it's your feelings, your emotions, what you believe to be true. And in connection with the universal forces, the laws, if you will, but I prefer not to say the laws of the universe, but there are for lack of a better word, laws that are every time we think we know something, something shows up that lets us know we know nothing. Okay, so you have people that won all kinds of awards, Nobel Peace Prizes, and everything else. Don't know a damn thing, because something else always comes to light. So anyway, these things collapse into matter, into what we believe to be or perceive as things. So people use the law of attraction for material possessions. Everyone was on the material hype. And so this is how they wanted to use, and I did too. I pretty much learned how to use the law of attraction and The Secret and all of that stuff, but that was, when they give you these things, they have missing ingredients. So I had learned a lot of this from the time I was younger. Not those books. Those books were not out yet. But there were other books in which much of that stuff was taken from, and channelers that came around speaking something come down and help them to tell you stuff. But it's all stuff that was already written in the land of the blacks. So they harped on that and wrote it in the way that they could deliver it to the public, the masses, because you know they're not going to tell you the truth. They need people to be controlled. So it's like baking a cake and leaving out the main ingredients to make the cake. And so this is how these books were okay to come, to be allowed for the masses to read them. But also, all of the holy books have the information within it also. But you have to lean into your heart to understand, for understanding, for the truth. Because it's been tampered with. But anyway. So, I hear the dogs outside barking. And it's so very quiet in here, so I don't, I guess maybe. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time. I don't know how long I rambled on, but I'm going to chop this up a little bit so that it's maybe just 10 minutes. And hopefully I made sense within 10 minutes. And thank you so much for joining me. Perhaps I'll do this again. And maybe start a YouTube channel and go more in depth about this kind of stuff. And even how to use law of attraction, but in a different way. In a different way. Because we can have basically, we are moving our vibration. This is natural to call forth whatever you desire in life. But there's a way in which to do it, because your purpose here is to enjoy and to create, but it's also more importantly, most important, to love, to evolve, to experience, to live your best life. Yeah. It's about those things. That's where the balance is. So you can call forth anything in your life. Thank you for joining me, beloved. And until the next time, peace.